AITAH for not wanting to contact my son after he was the one who abandoned me? I am not the OOP. OOP is you, silly struggle 2528. AITAH for not wanting to contact my son after he was the one who abandoned me? Originally posted to r AITAH. Original post April 12, 2023. I, 45F. Have a son from my previous marriage. I got pregnant way too young at the age of 20 from my high school sweetheart. David, 45M. We got married at the age of 22 after we graduated college. David was rich. He didn't want me to work, so I was just a housewife. My son was the apple of my eye. I gave everything to him. He was my world. He and I were really close, and I never had a doubt in my mind that I would not be alone in this world as long as I have him. That is until 10 years ago. I found out that my husband was cheating on me with a young colleague of his. And what is worse, my 15-year-old son knew about it. He hid the affair from me. Imagine how broken I was. I was betrayed by two people I care most in this world. I asked him why he did that. Why he hurt me. His response was that his dad told him not to. He bought him gifts to keep his mouth shut. And having a young stepmom made him popular amongst kids. I was totally blindsided when I learned my husband took my little boy to meet that woman. They made excuses that they went on a ski trip and they took his mistress with them. I felt like a fool at that time. In the divorce ruling, my son chose my ex over me. I was heartbroken. My son didn't even want to visit me after it was all done. I even tried to reach out to him once he turned 18. But he just refused. At that point I gave up and went on with my life. I would still get sad over the years wondering how he was doing. I did move on and met someone who is a single father of 2 girls. I married him, and few days after our wedding I got pregnant again. The pregnancy was a nightmare. I wanted to meet my son and tell him he is going to be a brother to a baby girl. The labor was painful. I almost died on the spot after giving birth to my daughter. I still wanted to meet my son. But I knew he did not want to see me, so I just gave up the idea. Over the years, the memories of him just became vague as I immersed myself into my new family. A week ago, I got a series of messages from him on my Facebook. He said that he missed me a lot and wants to meet up with me. It took me by surprise. Over the last 10 years he has not contacted me. Now he wants to see me? Why? I have been going over every possible reason. The worst part is that I do not feel excited about it. As a mother, I know I should be over the moon, but I am not. My parents and husband know that. They have been pushing me to meet him. They say I need closure, after all he is my son. But I don't know if I want to relive the same trauma. So am I wrong? Edit. I am sorry for the mistake in my title. I wrote she instead of he. Edit. Wow, I never thought it would get this amount of response. But thanks. I will give an official update on this. But now I am in conflict. If I do meet him, I won't call him to my house. Maybe a public place. I am not sure if he wants something, but I will be cautious of that. Relevant comments from OOP. I checked his social media last time 5 years ago. The last post I saw was with his stepmother and the caption said, "To the best mom in this world." I felt heartbroken. I scrolled through his feed. There was no mention of me. As if I never existed in his life. XXX. I didn't do anything. I didn't badmouth him or pushed him. He made this decision on his own. XXX. The thing is, as a mother I should be thrilled. But I am not. I am afraid he will act nice and then next thing I know he is out of my life again, leaving me cold. Update April 16, 2023. A lot of you have been requesting me for an update. I finally met my son after so many years. He was not a boy anymore. He was a man. He looked taller than I remember. So anyways, I will give an update. I read your comments. Some of you gave me some good suggestions. I prepared myself for any possible outcome. He could be there to meet me and tell me about his life, or maybe reconcile. Or maybe he wants something. Regardless of what it is, I am keeping my guards up. I asked him to meet me in a public park. I asked my husband to be somewhere near so he could see me. My son came 5 minutes after I arrived. He was all grown up. I won't lie. I wanted to cry at that spot but held my composure. He said hi to me and I smiled. I commented that he has grown up and looks really nice. He just nodded. We sat down and it was silent. I was expecting him to say something at first, but I finally asked what he was up to these days. He told me he is doing fine. He just finished college and is going to apply for grad school. I said that is great. Then it was awkward silence again. He broke the silence and said, "You must be wondering why I contacted you." I replied, "For 10 years. You haven't tried to contact me, but why now? I cannot help but wonder why you are trying to contact me when you told me years ago you don't want me near you because I embarrass you." His face got serious and he said, "I know that, but I need something from you. A lot of you suggested he must be here to ask me for money. Well, you guys were right. He asked me for money and the amount was $20K. He said he needed the money because he wants to go to law school and his father can't afford it. Because he lost a lot of his money a few years ago due to a loss on his business and his company was bankrupt. He also had 3 more kids with his mistress wife. That's why they do not have money for him to go to grad school." It just sank my heart. After 10 years I was finally meeting him. I was hoping that we could reconcile and he would understand what I have been through, or maybe my husband was lying to him. But no. He just wants money from me. I told him I cannot give him money. Not such a huge amount. He got defensive and kept saying why not. And then he asked, "Is this about Dad's affair? Geez. When will you get over it?" I asked him, "Why do you hate me? What have I done to deserve your hatred? Have I ever raised my voice? Have I ever hit you or said no to you? Then why? You always pushed me away when I tried to get closer to you. Why, and what did I do to deserve it?" He took a deep breath and said, "You don't understand, Mom. You really expected me to come with you? You had nothing. At least my dad could afford the lifestyle I wanted, and my friends actually like Carla, his stepmom. Everything was fine until you discovered his affair and my deal with Dad. I get it, you didn't hit me or scold me, but you were not able to afford the life I wanted." I asked him if he really thinks his father's affair was actually the best way for any of us. I sacrificed a lot for him, and yet he chose someone who he only met when he was 14. He said he doesn't want to talk about that because it was so many years ago and I should just drop it. I asked him why didn't he ever try to visit me. I even asked if it was his dad who tried to stop him or any other reason, or is it something I did. I tried to reach out to him multiple times, but he never answered or tried to be there. I gave him space because I thought he was coping with the divorce too. He yelled at me that I was really annoying. His dad didn't stop him. It was he who didn't want to meet me because I lived in a small apartment with only 2 bedrooms. He hated living in a place like that. And he ignored me on his 18th birthday because the gift I had for him was pretty cheap and stale compared to what his dad and other people gave him. I agree. My gift was a box of his favorite cookies and an old vintage watch. I was struggling a lot at that time, so I couldn't afford to buy him expensive stuff. But does that mean he should have ignored me like that? I had enough of it. I told him strictly that I will not be giving him money. I have spent years wondering where he is and how he is doing. He is still very disrespectful towards me. Throughout our whole conversation, he didn't even ask how I was. He just went straight to money. I was here hoping that we could move on. He had no idea how much of a mess I was when I learned the man I loved so much would betray me, and then my own son would lie to me for him. I thought we had a special bond. My head has been going through a lot of conclusions. Maybe his dad was lying to him about me. Maybe he was mad about something I did. But now I have the picture. I do not want to be his ATM. I wanted to be his mother even when he rejected me. I'm tired of feeling rejected and getting mistreated and taken for granted. He kept saying and getting even more defensive that I cannot do this to him. I am ruining his life. I told him no. I cannot trust him to give so much money. He told me to cut the BS because he knew I have money now. I can easily give him some. I told him no again and again. He at one point stood up and blamed me and screaming that I am ruining his life, that I owe it to him. I called my husband and he rushed towards me to keep my son away from me. I know now I should have trusted my instincts. I cried a lot when I came home. I lost him forever. I know a lot of you will call me a bad mother. You will call me a narcissist, but I am sorry. I have spent a lot of time in therapy to get over the pain of losing my husband and son. I cannot have him in my life only to be used as an ATM. Even if I gave him the money, there is no guarantee that after getting the money he will not ghost me or push me away, and then when the money runs out he will come to me again to ask for more. I cannot go through the similar pain. I may be able to forgive him for what he said to me, but I don't think I will ever forget what he said. He hated me because I had no money. I would have been fine with weekly visits from him, but he never even wanted that. Additionally, I discovered during our conversation that he was the first one to find out that my husband was having an affair, and he asked his dad to buy him a new phone in exchange for not telling me. I lost. That's all I have as an update. I am sorry if there were any mistakes. It is hard to write and form sentences and put all of it in a few words. And no, his birthday was not the only time I reached out like many of you assumed. I tried to reach out to him before that many times. He said he didn't want to or had other excuses. I respected his decision and didn't bother him much. I finally gave up trying when he was 18, but I still checked his social media for quite a while. Until I gave that up too. Relevant comments from Oop. It was not that he was asking me for money after so many years. But it is just I don't know if he will use that money for some bad use like drugs or gambling. Also, I have no way to confirm if he is telling the truth about grad school or not. So it seems too risky to give such a huge sum just like that. XXX. I at least have my daughters but still feel bad they will never get to know their brother. XXX. I do have more money than before, but 20k disposable income is too much. This is a repost sub IAM, not the Oop. He obviously cares more about money than his own mother. And this shows he will never change. I'm glad that Oop was prepared for this outcome, or it could have gone horribly. I lost him forever. I know a lot of you will call me a bad mother. You will call me a narcissist. There's a blatant, neon sign flashing narcissist in this post, and it ain't this lady. Edit. Didn't expect to have to sit on top of the thread. So I didn't put a lot of thought into this post. We can't diagnose anything from Reddit. And lack of empathy is more associated with the word sociopath than narcissist. Regardless, he's the one acting in a sick way. Sometimes kids would rather stay with money than to recognize the situation. Especially since all he came to Oop for was money. I wish the best for Oop and hope she has time to heal. I at least have my daughters but still feel bad they will never get to know their brother. Those girls are much better off not knowing a brother, who would likely see them only as a possible conduit to mom's money, or worse, a means of revenge. That is truly horrible. It's one thing for your child to choose their other parent out of love. It's something entirely worse when they choose their other parent simply because they want their money. I hope she's able to heal from this and move on knowing she was not the problem. It's sad, but she is probably better off without David in her life. He only thinks about himself and what he can get from others. By choosing the dad and enabling his cheating, he is more than likely to turn into the dad. They have been pushing me to meet him. I wish people could recognize when their good intentions are ignorant and damaging. I'm watching Fleischman is in trouble right now. And this post reminds me so much of one of the core themes of the show. You want what's best for your kids. And if you're someone who's doing well financially, better than your own parents even, you give your kids the best you can. Schools, activities, opportunities, etc. But immersion in the upper class means they adopt upper class values. And you may find that, by trying to do right by them, you end up accidentally pointing them toward a worldview that centers greed and status. And they don't necessarily inherit your values of kindness and groundedness. Just because you verbally reinforce those values, they'll always prioritize what they see and experience over what you say. And their peers are going to be the biggest influence on who they become. It sounds like Oop tried to do the best she could for her son. But at the end of the day, he was too poisoned by his father's world, and its focus on money and reputation. He was not a boy anymore. He was a man. He may have been bigger. He may have been older. He may even have been wiser. But this useless crybaby is no man. Son can take out a loan for his postgraduate work. That's what most people do. $20,000 is not a back-breaking student loan. What a dick. What must it be like to realize that your child is not just selfish in the way that children are, but actually a narcissist? My heart aches for Op. Her intentions and her motives are clear and sincere. It is unfortunately his son turned out this way. I hope she understands that just because he is blood-related doesn't mean she needs to bend over backward for his sake. I hope her best recovery to enjoy her life going forward. She is mourning the death of a son who has not existed for at least 10 years. And he ignored me on his 18th birthday because the gift I had for him was pretty cheap and stale compared to what his dad and other people gave him. My gift was a box of his favorite cookies and an old vintage watch. Single quote. I don't know why, but when I read that last sentence, it absolutely shattered me. I feel so bad for the mom. Heck, even a loving hug from my mom would be more worth to me than some expensive gift. Officially dubbed this one a big ol' bummer. Damn, that was hard to read. Hope Oop heals from this. I seriously doubt he wanted the money for law school. If this is in the US, $20,000 would pay for only one semester of law school, and that's with in-state tuition. Ivy League schools are much more expensive. He was running a scam, and I suspect that once he received the first payment, he would be back again and again for more school expenses, until he drained Oop dry. Poor lady. I'm glad she has a supportive husband and her daughters in her life. Wow. This poor woman. How heartbreaking. Her son is a self-centered awe. It is easy to assume he takes after his father. Young assholes have great tendency to become old assholes. The son and dad are dicks.
Nah. Fuck that kid.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.